Hey, Gavox here. So last year I did a video much like this where I talked about legends that I want for Madden 21. Now, if you look through my top 10 list, it's kind of crazy, right? Let's just go through it. Taiwan, of course, number 1. Jim Thorpe, Colin Kaepernick, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, Brett Favre, Joe Namath, Jack Ham, Johnny Unitas, Bob the Bullet Hayes, and William the Refrigerator Perry. Now, you're like, oh, whoa. And I was the same way. I was like, wow. EA, for, all their faults with gameplay and stuff, it is kind of crazy, just how well they've done with Legends. Like, this is probably one of the more difficult years for this video of bringing back the Legends into the game. Sorry if you hear the baby in the background crying, but he's going. Anyways, so only a few of them, right? And I said in last year's video, like, I only want Crazy Legs Hirsch if they actually animate his legs all weird like. So obviously they didn't do that. They didn't bring him in. We heard Colin Kaepernick was back in the game. He didn't make it to MUT though. Jim Thorpe made it to MUT. Favre made it. Namath made it. Ham made it. Unitas made it. Bob the Bullet Hayes did not, but William the Refrigerator Perry did. So it's kind of crazy that like only 2, and the one guy that didn't was kind of like, he's only good if you bring him in and animate him different because of his weird running style. So really only one of my entire list didn't make it into Madden, which, wow, EA, that's insane. I mean, them and many others they brought into the game this year, more than previous years, and I think they've done a great job. So this year, the legends I want for Madden 22, I'm going to go through more than just my, 10, 11 list right here. But I do want them to make them like special drops instead of lumping them in with like campus heroes. And obviously I'm not going to include the recently retired guys like Vinatieri and Breeze. But like when they brought Jack Hammond and he was like in the Legends, the campus hero drop, I was kind of like, well, that's a little boring, right? Like he wasn't like super special. Like these things should come in the game, be powerful. Like Joe Namath came in as like a top tier quarterback. Favre the same way. He came in with one of the best releases in the game. We'll tie with Rodgers for the best release in the game. Jim Thorpe came in as a very good card, probably the best running back in the game when he came out. And still kind of an argument towards it. Probably not now with all the golden tickets and Bo Jackson out whatnot. But anyways, my top 10 list. So obviously the guys that didn't make it, Crazy Legs. Like I say, I only want Crazy Legs in the game if they can make his legs all funky like. Bob the Bullet Hayes, Daryl Green again moved up. I want Craig Ironhead Hayward, a thick running back. Cam Hayward's father. He was an absolute beast. Go back and watch some of his highlights. Just a really tough guy to bring down. I want Forrest Gregg or Bronco Nagurski. I just think they have cool names, right? Obviously, all timers, one of the best tackles of all time. And then Bronco Nagurski, also a great player, but he's from much further back, even than Forrest Gregg. I mean, not like crazy far back, in the cosmic scale of things. Art Monk, I remember playing him in old Maddens. He was a very good run blocking wide receiver. I don't know if that was true to life, but he had really good run block. Fran Tarkenton, it's weird that we haven't seen him in MUT yet, in Madden, really. One of the best quarterbacks of all time, those old Minnesota teams. I made a Steelers list below, along with Peyton Hillis and maybe Doug Flutie, right? Doug Flutie is like one of those underdog stories that, ended up reaching the pinnacle of football and really involved in a lot of kind of memorable plays. I think the drop kick, right? Also, in college, there was one play with, you guys know what play I'm talking about because I don't know. I don't recall the actual name of it right off the top of my head. Flutie's Hail Mary, right? Wasn't there a name for it? Oh, crap. I'm on. You see, it's really dark. Let me look it up. Doug Flutie Hail Mary. Flutie's Miracle in Miami. So there isn't a special name of it. Oh, I thought it was gonna be like a special name for it, but there isn't. It's just the Flutie's Miracle in Miami. I can't show it sadly on this without getting demonetized. But there's that. Oh, let me go back to this. Anyways, I want Eric Dickerson retired forever. I don't ever want to see him back. Maybe give me a year. Please don't bring him back in 22. Give us another year away from him and his Madden 20 awfulness. Maybe a top 10 busts. I mean, they kind of did this a little bit this past year where we had like Leinart in the game. Vince Young came back. Like he was supposed to be better than he ended up being in the NFL. So we had a few of them. Maybe some more, right? Number 1 always on the list is Taiwan. Jamarcus Russell, Richardson, Ryan Leaf, Mandarich, Johnny Manziel, Achilles Smith, Steve Entman. I wanted a lineman. He was drafted number 1 overall. Ran into some injuries issues. Jake Locker, number 9. Justin Blackman, Kajana Carter. You can go with that one running back. Shoot, I forgot who the other one. There was another one I was going to put on the list, but I decided not to. But anyways, Steelers I want before I get into more other legends. And let me know in the comments, right? Like which legends you guys want, which legends from your theme team maybe that are like all-time legends. But, you know, Terry Bradshaw obviously winning 4 Super Bowls as a quarterback would be considered like an all-time legend. And some of these guys, Greg Lloyd's one of the best to ever do it. Like all up and down this list, some of the best to ever do it in the NFL. But Carnell Lake's my number one, right? Why? Because safeties are cool, right? Safeties, like even though now we have Minka and Palomalu, if they bring him back again this year on the Steelers theme team, always having an extra one as a user is always really cool. So Carnell Lake, even though Terrell Edmonds is a pretty solid user, Carnell Lake on the second team all-decade, all-90s squad. So he'd be a nice get. Obviously, Donnie Shell, same way, a safety in the 70s. I mean, he had a better career maybe in the early 80s than really in the 70s so much, but Shell was a phenomenal player. Lambert is a middle linebacker. He's like one of the best middle linebackers of all time, but the reason that he's number 4 on my list is because they don't really animate this year, so they're not that powerful, which is kind of like, you know, Lambert would be like number 1-ish if middle linebacker's that good because he was that good IRL. Rocky Blyer, obviously, you know, not a lot of people know about his stories except for, you know, people from like the Pittsburgh, you know, kind of fandom area where like, you know, Vietnam vet, absolute phenomenal person and player. Casey Hampton, Dermontti Dawson, John Stallworth, Joey Porter, Faneca Webster, and then Gary Anderson would be kind of cool. One of the all-time best kickers. Kicked a lot of years on the Steelers. And then I don't know what happened to Mel Blount and Franco Harris. I want them back, right? Just bring them back. What the heck? What the heck indeed. So let me know what you guys want. Do you guys like the, you know, unfulfilled potential promo / campus heroes? I mean, we got like Reggie Bush as part of this too, so he didn't make my list, but more thoughts, right? Like, you know, Ryan Leaf's like really turned over a new leaf. I don't know what's up with Jamarcus Russell, but he'd be like one of the top ones to get for sure. Otherwise, I do want, right, the all-decades team. Like, if EA just went back and grabbed, like, the last, you know, 6 all-decades team and put them all in the game, I think I'd be happy. The thing about the 2010 all-decades team is most of these guys are still playing, right? Like, most of these guys, besides like Joe Thomas, who they brought to the game, you know, a few others that have retired. Most of these guys, you know, Maurice Pouncey just retired with the Steelers. Hopefully they bring him back as a legend. That'd be kind of nice to get some more linemen up in this. But otherwise, you know, 2010 list, don't really have to look through it too deeply. The 2000 decades, we got a few more retirees, a few more guys in the Hall of Fame. But like a lot of these guys have, you know, they've been in Madden or are in Madden right now. So like you don't have to like, you know, ask for a Antonio Gates card, right? Antonio Gates, he's in 21. Yeah, he is in 21. Like because these guys, Faneca should definitely be in the game. I don't know why Faneca never gets no respect. Never in the game. We need a Faneca card. I talked about Mike Webster, right, in this Steelers one. I know Mike Webster's son on Twitter said, yes, I want him in the game. So that'd be kind of neat if the EA devs reached out and just put him in the game. Because he was in last time I think he was in Madden 15 as a legend card. Very cool. He's an underweight lineman, so you know underweight linemen aren't as powerful if you know really believe in the weight. And you know next gen I think weight matters more. So more weight on players in next gen will probably matter. We'll see if offensive line, defensive line interactions change at all. But like we got like Charles Woodson back this year. Awesome, right? I love it. So I think EA doing a good job. Darren Sharper maybe. We need him. Tyler Palomalu they brought back. Where like so like a lot of these guys. We need a Zach Thomas too. Like you know. Underrated, kind of like overlooked, drafted late because of his height, and he ended up being a you know dominant force for Miami for a while. We can look back at the 90s decade. They're missing quite a few more 90s guys than were 2000. Ben Coates was a beast. Baselli, I think Baselli made a campus hero card. Steve Wisniewski, isn't that guy from Monsters Inc.? But like a lot of these guys we've had, Dermontti Dawson, I really wanted the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously a little bit of bias showing through there too. Who else do we need? Like a lot of these guys have made the game. Cortez, is Cortez? I can't recall if he's been in the game recently. Kevin Green, rest in peace. He's been in the game, but it might be for a little bit. Hopefully they can get his rights down the road. It is tough whenever we lose one. And because like we want to honor them in game, but it is you know I would say difficult probably to approach the family at that situation. So even though what we want is you know to celebrate his life and use him on the field, I can see why he probably won't be back in the game for a while. Levon Kirkland here, very cool. So like looking through like the second team, like Bryant Young, second team, obviously Nickerson, Bennett. I think we got in the game too this year with the Campus Heroes. Aeneas Williams was a captain card and other what is it, Legend card too? I think they gave him, or was it Ultimate Legend? I can't recall. I think it was Ultimate Legend, right? Yeah. Carnell Lake, like I talked about in the Steelers love, I want him. Ronnie Lott, we got Leroy Butler, talked about before. Morton Anderson, Deion Sanders, yeah, got that. Now we got the all 80s decade team, so a lot of solid legends here overall that they can kind of go through. But like, what's crazy is like, I love it. Like they've been so good in the last like 2-3 years, bringing in new legends that it's gonna get harder and harder for them over the years to kind of shock us with new names because they've done so good. So like we're gonna start to learn more and more about NFL football history just by looking through, like, the decades team, by looking through the legends that they're going to give us. So I am here for it, though, right? I think that's one of the coolest things about MUT is being able to, like, learn about, like, Harold Carmichael. Like, he's 6 foot 10 trillion inches, and, like, he was an absolute beast in the 70s. But, like, not a lot of people knew about that. Like, not a lot of people knew Paul Warfield. I mean, a lot of people probably know him, but, like, a lot of, like, more younger audiences don't know Paul Warfield. They don't know the exploits of Franco Harris. So, like, seeing Mike Webster here is really cool, too. Elsie Greenwood. The 70s were a big time for the Steelers. They won a lot of Super Bowls there. That's why I got a lot of people on this team. But when you look at, like, the 60s all-decade team, we really don't. But, like, Sonny Jurgensen would be kind of cool to have on. Paul Hornung, Leroy Kelly, Gale Sayers. We got, did we get him this year? Because I know we've had him in the past. Jim Brown, Jim Taylor. Awesome guys. We got Jim Brown, obviously. He's one of the best of all time. He was, like, Jim Brown. The fact that Jim Brown signed with Madden is probably one of the biggest upsets I've seen, right? Because he, like, sued EA, just under a decade ago for using him without paying him. So, like, I thought he had, like, really bad opinions about Madden, but now that they've, been able to approach him, pay for his rights, get him in the game, I think it's just been great for both the, consumers, him, EA, all around. That's a win, bringing them. Deacon Jones, fabulous, love him. So there's a lot of great names, a lot of big old players that they really, can kind of bring in. Maybe we'll start learning. Like, we know so much about, like, Night Train Lane now because he's got a good card most years. Bobby Lane, bring him in, as a quarterback. Norm Van Brocklin, Otto Graham, we get quite a bit. So, there's so many great cards back in the day. So this is what I'm really looking for. Like I talked about, Crazy Legs Hirsch right here, because he had, like, the really weird running movement. So I'm hoping we get him. That's why I say he's my number one, because I just want them to animate him quickly. Like if they give him like the Brett Favre treatment where they bring him in to the game, if they bring in Crazy Legs Hirsch and they just make him look like Aaron Rodgers, you're like, okay, all right, that's not worth it. That was not worth it. Don't even bring in the game if you're not going to go full out and actually try. So it is frustrating sometimes to bring guys into the game and it's like, well, it's cool that you got the rights, but man, can't you get an artist to do something to actually, like, just go in the creative player? You could even approach members of the community that would gladly do that for you. Here, you use this for him. So I don't know. We'll see next year who they bring in. What do you guys want? That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Let me know who you guys want for Legends. Appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow.